go.
888-971-SAGE, 888-971-7243. So much to cover. Apparently, the raid yesterday on Trump's lawyer, they were seeking records on Access Hollywood tape. Why? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Growing concerns on the Hill that President Trump may fire Mueller and or Rosenstein and or Sessions. And a new generic House poll, the polls that show whether or not people prefer Democrats or Republicans to run the House. Remember when there was about a 15, almost 20-point advantage for Democrats? In the Quinnipiac poll, very respected, the gap in favor of Democrats is now just 3 points. Damn! Democrats 46, Republicans 43, just 3 points. And Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, has announced he does not intend to run for re-election. But first, the big news is this is the second day of testimony/grilling of Mark Zuckerberg, this time by the House, yesterday by the Senate. And honestly, the sanctimony from these politicians who are clueless about how the website works. Most of them have no personal web page in the first place. They have no idea. So watching Mark Zuckerberg explain to some of these politicians exactly what he was doing was hysterical. But can we step back for a second before I get into what Zuckerberg said and who said what and how and why and the promises he made and that he believes he does comply with the FTC? Before we get into all that, why are we here? We are here because the media believes that Facebook somehow was used by the Trump administration in order to target voters. And that's one of the reasons that Trump won. They still can't get over the fact that the American people were fed up with 8 years of Obama giving us the worst economic recovery since 1949. And you nominated somebody who basically wanted a third term of a president whose policies gave us the worst economic recovery since 1949. There were other reasons. But almost always, as Bill Clinton put it, it's the economy stupid. So they still can't figure this out. So they're now looking for another scapegoat. And now the scapegoat is Facebook. Had Facebook been more diligent, had Facebook not violated its terms of privacy, then this wouldn't have happened, blah, 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 blah. Really? Here's what I find just fascinating, and I'm amazed that Republicans are going along with this. Apparently, the Russian bots, whatever they're called, purchased some ads on Facebook. Some of them were anti-Hillary. Some of them were pro-Trump. Some of them were pro-Bernie Sanders. Some of them were pro-Jill Stein. We have a major media where 90% is center-left. Book I told you about many times, Left Turn. Of the top 18 primary sources of news, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, Fox News, and so forth, Washington Post, New York Times, LA Times, 18 of the 20 are left-leaning. Only 2 are right-leaning. And that's the Nightly News by Bret Baier and the Washington Times. That's it. But the Russians purchased some ads, and all of a sudden, all the people that had been bombarded by anti-Republican messages, anti-Trump messages, because they cut on ABC, they cut on NBC, they cut on CBS, they cut on CNN, they cut on MSNBC, and all of a sudden they turn on Facebook and they see something about Hillary that's negative, and I'm going to vote for Trump. I am going to vote for Trump. I cannot help myself. I am going to vote for Trump. Really? Why are we having hearings on how one-sided our media are? Why are we having hearings on the fact that, according to the Pew Research Center, January, February, March, 91% of the Trump coverage by the nightly news on ABC, NBC, CBS was negative? 91%. Where are the hearings? Where are the hearings on the fact that George Clintonopoulos, who was a top aide to Bill Clinton, who was involved in the nut or slut strategy, some people even believe he helped to orchestrate it along with Hillary. He was hired by ABC. They said he's never going to cover news. And little by little by little, now he's the chief news anchor of ABC. Where are the hearings on that? Why isn't there some sort of disclosure? You want Facebook to disclose. Why don't you have some sort of disclosure every time George Clintonopoulos covers politics? Graphic underneath. Former top aide to Bill Clinton was involved in orchestrating the campaign to discredit women that made allegations against Bill Clinton. Put that underneath the chyron. Put that on the chyron. Put that on the graphic. Why isn't that there? Why isn't there some sort of graphic below Chuck Todd every Sunday when he hosts Meet the Press that says he worked on Democratic Senator Tom Harkin's 1992 presidential campaign? You probably don't know who Harkin is. Harkin's even to the left of Obama. And his wife worked on the Democratic Senator Jim Webb's 2006 Senate campaign. How come that isn't on the graphic? What about Jake Tapper? Started out as a press secretary for a Democratic congressional candidate from Pennsylvania. Worked in the same capacity after her election. How come that's not on the graphic? Why isn't there some disclosure whenever you cut on the television that even according to Harvard, the media are overwhelmingly left-leaning? Where are the hearings? Where are the hearings on the fact that according to my friend Tim Groseclose's book, Left Turn, if the media were truly fair and balanced based upon his research, the average state would vote the way Texas does, which is about 8 to 10 points in favor of the Republican Party. Where are the hearings? Talk about influence. Talk about altering people's perception. Talk about causing people to rethink issues and vote the certain way. Where are the hearings on the left-wing domination of our mainstream media? Where are those hearings? I told you about the Washington Post ombudsperson named Deborah Howe, 2008. She was talking about her newspaper's coverage of the Obama-McCain campaign. She examined stories and said when Obama became the presumptive nominee from June 4th until August 15th, the Post ran 142 political stories about Obama compared to 96 about McCain. As for front page stories, the Post ran 35 for Obama as opposed to 13 for McCain. Where are the hearings? Photographs. Front page. Post ran 143 pictures of Obama versus 100 of McCain. And here's what the managing editor for Politics explained when he tried to defend himself. And keep in mind, the Washington Post purports to be a newspaper. Not a paper that selects news based upon our ideology. We're supposed to be a newspaper. What is the New York Times headline famous slogan? All the news that's fit to print. Here is what the Washington Post assistant managing editor said after Howell wrote this column exposing their bias. Quote, "We make our own decisions about what we consider newsworthy. We are not garment workers measuring our product every day to fulfill somebody's quota." End of quote. Where are the hearings? I thought you guys were news. We make our own decisions about what we consider newsworthy. Of course you do. We're not garment workers measuring our product every day to fulfill somebody's quota, close quote. Fair enough. But don't call yourself news. Where are the hearings? Where are those hearings? If Donald Trump hadn't won the election, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You have a lot of Republicans clueless going along with it. Well, tell us about your privacy violations. What are your codes? What did you do wrong? Clueless. I'm Larry Elder.
Larry Elder, all true.